Trump's Ukraine summit with Putin sparks European outrage. This isn't your parents' GOP, as President Donald Trump prepares to meet with Vladimir Putin for peace talks on Ukraine. European leaders are scrambling to respond after being sidelined from negotiations. An emergency summit in Paris brought together top European officials who now face the grim reality that Trump's administration is bypassing them entirely, leaving Europe to fend for itself as the war rages on. According to NPR, the rift between the U.S. and Europe became painfully clear at the recent Munich Security Conference. Elie Tenenbaum of the French Institute for International Relations summed it up bluntly. Their worst nightmare has come true. Trump's intentions are clear strong-arm Ukraine into accepting a deal with Russia while leaving Europe out in the cold. In just a week, key U.S. officials, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Special Russia-Ukraine Envoy General Keith Kellogg have made statements across Europe that shattered any hopes of transatlantic cooperation. Trump, after a lengthy call with Putin, doubled down on his determination to push forward without European input. The Guardian reports that German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, addressing the press after the Paris summit, made Europe's stance clear. No diktat can be imposed on Ukraine. Scholz emphasized that Europe must continue to support Ukraine's right to defend itself, pursue EU membership, and maintain a strong defense, none of which he insisted are negotiable. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez echoed this sentiment, stating that Europe wants peace, but only one that preserves international order and ensures justice for Ukraine. Sweden's Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson reinforced that no peace talks should happen without Ukraine's direct involvement and called for increased and accelerated support for Kyiv. While European leaders are putting on a united front, the situation highlights a deeper issue: Trump's eagerness to reshape global alliances and his disdain for traditional diplomacy. Cutting Europe out of Ukraine peace talks isn't just a snub, it's a calculated move that mirrors authoritarian tactics. Ruth Ben-Ghiat's work on strongmen, from Mussolini to Putin, feels eerily relevant as Trump undermines democratic alliances. This isn't just about Trump. It's about the Republican Party's transformation. The GOP that once stood staunchly against Soviet and Russian aggression, championing democracy, now finds itself led by a man cozying up to Putin. Gone are the days when Republicans like Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire. Today's GOP seems more interested in appeasing Russia than defending invaded democracies like Ukraine. Scholz dismissed discussions about deploying European peacekeeping troops to Ukraine as highly inappropriate, urging leaders to focus on practical support rather than speculative interventions. Yet, he also called for reforms to the EU's fiscal rules, suggesting that defense spending above 2% of GDP be exempt from existing budget restrictions, a sign that Europe is preparing for prolonged conflict. The division between the U.S. and Europe under Trump isn't just a diplomatic inconvenience, it's a dangerous shift with real consequences. While Trump cozies up to Putin, because who needs historical context when you have a gold-plated penthouse? European leaders are left scrambling to maintain stability and protect Ukraine from becoming a pawn in Trump's geopolitical game. Trump and his administration claim to defend American interests, yet their actions weaken alliances, embolden authoritarian regimes, and leave allies vulnerable. The GOP of past generations would be horrified to see its party enabling a Russian dictator while undermining NATO and the EU. As Europe vows continued support for Ukraine, the coming months will test international alliances like never before. Trump's presidency echoes authoritarian leaders who prioritized personal power over collective security. As Trump prepares to meet Putin, the question remains: will Europe's resolve counterbalance Trump's agenda? Or are we witnessing the unraveling of alliances that maintained global stability since World War II? One thing is certain: when Trump and Putin meet, the stakes couldn't be higher. And for those hoping Trump might embrace diplomacy and respect for international norms, don't hold your breath. After all, this is the same man who thinks a gold toilet is the epitome of class.